I know. I just ate something. Chocolate covered almonds is what I ate. You think that's true about almonds taking up all that water? I don't know. Seems like it can't be. Oh, using all that water for almonds. We have a lot of almonds. We don't need that many almonds. Right? The demand's not that high. You see them all over the place. We are here in the Bookless Classroom. This is Dr. Annette, or you can call me Miss Annette if you are 12 or younger. Otherwise, if you're a prosecutor, you call me Dr. Annette. Or whatever. We are reading Lewis and Clark Expedition. So, I don't even know. So, we got about halfway through this, and if you remember, we have been moving along to determine how the United States was settled, right? Talking about, and we talked yesterday for a long time about the very big question that we got from that Edmund Morton, right? The Edmund Morton, here it is, Edmund Morgan book, right? That we got. So really the big, large question is to what extent, and we learn from history, right? We're not perfect. We learn from history. So to what extent do we impose our ideas and values on other cultures and other people? And this is always the question. It always has been the question since the beginning of time, right? The snake started imposing his will onto Eve. If you want to go back that far, right? And yeah, and if you like those stories, as I do. Okay. So, and the stories of our American history. I really like those stories as well. As I've said, we end up getting, some great details when we know that somebody is telling us the story and they have been there themselves, right? People can make up details and act like they're details, but what we find out is if it's not true, that the connections between the details don't make any sense, right? So somebody can give you a lot of details about something, and even then, if they weren't there to experience it, they have to give you those details from someplace else. Okay, I think we were on page 23 is what I think I said, if I remember correctly. Yes. So we were stopping and we were kind of interjecting. We were all stopping because if I stop, we all stop, right? And I was stopping sometimes, interjecting some of the really more interesting things that I found on this expedition. Like what they were trying to do is they were curious about matching cultures to. So we see stories here in a new land, right? And they're matching stories that they said came from the lost tribe from the Bible, right? If you remember that. And I said, I thought that was the tribe of Benjamin. And so that would be really interesting for somebody to find out. Is that the tribe of Benjamin? I would like to know. There we go. Here it is on page 6. So a popular belief was that those Indians were descendants of the biblical lost tribe of Israel. And Rush wanted to know whether their religion resembled that of the Jews, right? So we've got that interesting little tidbit over there. Then we also have the interesting tidbit, if you wanted to do a little bit more investigation on the Louisiana Purchase, I think that is really very interesting. They did not want Britain to take that land from them, so they sold it to the United States for pennies on the dollar, or basically $50 million or $8.50 an acre, something like that. Oh, my cough can't get it right every day. Okay, so yes, so the Lost Tribe of Benjamin, so that was interesting. What else I found interesting, I knew that there were a couple other things. So the Louisiana Purchase, if you wanted to do a little investigation on that, that is kind of interesting. But also I found interesting the story of the Indian girl. So again, they very often took Indian women and they enjoyed young girls, which is just really, you know, not very good. And because it really does damage the spirit of young people when they are thrust into an adult world and forced to behave like an adult when they're still children. It's as a doctor in psychology, that really bothers me. And I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't do this. But there was another thing in there too that I said right after that Bible thing that was also very interesting. It was also interesting that Lewis was depressed. So that was also interesting. He was an introvert and he was depressed, and it seemed like Clark was exactly the opposite, but that they got along very well. So that was very nice. There were chiefs here that they mentioned. Black Buffalo Bull, not Black Buffalo Bill, Black Buffalo Bull. And then the partisan that they were worried about, if you remember. And they were with the Corps of Discovery. They were funded by the Corps of Discovery, right? And they had men from the Corps of Discovery. Remember Toussaint Charbonneau was suddenly visited by his wife, and that wasn't very good because he had purchased the slave girl. Here's where it was. Sacagawea. And she was a Shoshone Indian. And so here you're getting the different tribes. That was the other thing to maybe somebody wants to investigate the other tribes. So there was the Sioux Indians, but there was another tribe of Indians that appeared to be kinder because they were on the shores, right? Thinking that they were impressed with the fish that Lewis and Clark caught. Probably not both of them at the same time, but you get the idea. And then that story of Sacagawea.